Hey everyone, Dumont Owen here. It's 5 o'clock, and today we're talking about how to build a four-part social selling system. And if you've never seen one of my broadcasts before, um, I'm Dumont Owen. I'm a master personal and digital brand strategist, and I specialize in helping coaches, consultants, and other kinds of professional service providers um, um, get more clients on LinkedIn. So today, what we're going to be talking about is what you actually need to do in order to get clients. Hold on, I'm getting a message here. I'm going to turn this off so I don't see it. Okay. Um, Today, what we're going to be talking about is something that I think a lot of you are going to be interested in because, in order to actually get clients on LinkedIn, you have to have a system or you're going to be there all day and you're still not going to be doing the right things. So, having a system is so very important. Now, before we go any further, I want to check and make sure you can hear me. Is there someone who can give me the nod that you can hear me? And if you're trying to make comments on Facebook, understand that I will not be able to see your comments until you go above you and click in that box that StreamYard has your permission to show your name. On LinkedIn, if you want to make comments, that's in your settings and privacy and settings and privacy. I always forget which way that goes. In your visibility settings. So the other thing I want to bring your attention to is that below me, right here, you can see where to download the worksheet if you haven't done so far. So, those of you who are watching me on the replay, welcome, welcome. Always glad to see you, and you should be seeing this about 2 days after we produced it. So it'll be Friday or Saturday, right in there. And I will send you not only the replay, but the slide PDFs so that you have those. Okay, and any resources that we have that we're distributing this time. So before we get started, can anybody, again, I was wondering if I want to make sure you can hear me. Okay, then I'm going to go on the assumption that you can. All right, we have a lot of people signed up, but this is a new time, and I almost forgot the time because this is only the second time I've done it at 5 o'clock. So 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is our usual time, except for next week when I'm doing a special master class for you, and it will be free. So stay tuned to the end so you know about that because it's a goodie. All right, let me get started here with my presentation. Hold on, I just want to make sure that this is, yes, okay. For the last couple of weeks, I've had a problem with my slides showing up, and I finally figured it out on StreamYard. Even though you can upload slides, it faded everything out. So I uploaded it as a PDF, and it works. So all is good. All right, so let's get started. What we're talking about today is how to get more clients with a four-part social selling system. And be sure to, if you're not on here live, if you're seeing the replay, be sure that you open up that worksheet that we're sending out to you. If you are watching live, be sure you go and enter that URL, and you can download the worksheet. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover today. First of all, what the heck is social selling, right? And why is it important? And then we're going to talk about something that LinkedIn provides, the four pillars of what they call the social selling index. Now, if you do not have a premium service, there is a back door to get in, but it wasn't working the last time I tried it. So stay tuned, because if I can get it to work over the next few days, I'll send you that link. So, but the social selling index gives you the 4 measures that LinkedIn says define whether you're doing a great job of social selling. So it's very, very important. And then finally, we're going to talk about the lucrative LinkedIn client generator system, or simply called the lucrative LinkedIn system. And this is a systematic way to do LinkedIn, that you can do every day, because it's only going to take you, once you have it set up, about 15 to 30 minutes, and that's it. You really can get it done in as little time as that. So let's get going. Okay, first of all, what is social selling? Well, in a nutshell, and I have the definition here, it's a way to sell to people based on developing meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and trust, or at least that's how I define it. So when it's time to buy your prospect, or time to buy, the first person or brand people are going to think of is you, because they already have a relationship with you. Now, sometimes this works quickly, sometimes it doesn't, but I think anyone who has been selling online for any length of time can tell you that yes, some people respond pretty quickly. Others, may respond months, a year, maybe 2 years later. I had somebody respond the other day by one of my courses, and I'd been sending them stuff and messaging for 4 years, and they finally bought. So social selling is about developing people, from the beginning of their journey through their buyer's journey, and we're going to go over that in a minute, so that you can get in and develop that relationship, so that they will trust you enough to buy from you. The old saw, in order for people to buy from you, they have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. And that is really important. It's not any different on social media. They still have to know, like, and trust you. We just do it a little bit differently. Okay. So for many people, for I hope everyone who is seeing this, that that social selling has replaced cold calling. Hallelujah. Because if there's one thing I will never do, it's cold calling. I mean, I can tell you, I tried everything to get myself to do it. I would block out times because people told me to do that. I would set a goal of how many people I was going to call each week. Never met that goal. Never even, I mean, I did it a few times, but I just hated it. I just hated it. It just didn't feel good to me. So I like social selling so much more, because I don't have to be phony. I don't have to be pushy, and I don't have to be manipulative. And those are all winners in my court. Okay. Next, why is social selling important? Hold on a sec. Well, here are 3 reasons. There are others, but these are the 3 that I think really stand out. 1, it enables you to build relationships with your clients before they enter the decision stage of their buyer's journey, meaning when they decide, who they're going to buy from. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Brand awareness. It ensures that you have a professional brand that will encourage your ideal clients to reach out for you, because the fastest way to get clients on LinkedIn is by promoting your professional brand, or what I would call your personal and digital brand. So very, very important. And finally, your clients are already engaged in social buying. 72% of people on social media use it to conduct research before they purchase. So, sit back, and they are just going above you, and you are missing those people. So social selling is a crucial skill that you have to master before you can really be successful selling on LinkedIn. Okay, next. Here's here's the biggest reason for any of you who are trying to sell premium programs or your one-on-one pricey services, because let's face it, the more people have access to you or the better the program, the higher the ticket, the less likely that they will ever buy that from you online. You know, you can sell a $97 ebook, or like I have a $97 LinkedIn profile mini course, but you're not going to sell something that's over $1,000. It's just not going to happen, because people have to really know you before they're going to buy from that. They have to have that conversation with you, that sales conversation, and that is the last part of social selling. Okay. Now, I've mentioned the buyer's journey a number of times, and let's talk about this for a minute. The buyer's journey is the journey that they take before they, or the journey they take in order to buy something. So these are the stages that buyers go through before they actually make a purchasing decision. So that first stage is awareness. And awareness is when they're aware that they have a problem. They might not even know what's causing the problem. They just know there is a problem. And at that stage, 19% of people want to connect with a salesperson. Now, if you're like me, I have a 3-person company, so I'm the salesperson. And if you're a solopreneur or you have a very small business, then you're the salesperson, right? So be aware that at this stage, 19% of people want to talk to somebody. They want to talk to you. Okay, write this down. Write these stages of the buyer's journey down, because they are so, so, so important. Okay, the second stage is consideration. Now, in this stage, they know they've got a problem, and they know what's causing it. So in the awareness stage, let's say that their revenue fell during the fourth quarter of last year, or that fell for last year period, as we finally moved out of the pandemic, or primarily moved out of it. So they may know that there's a drop in revenue, but they may not know what's causing it. In the consideration stage, they know what's causing it. And now they're shopping around. They're looking for people, they're looking at programs, they're evaluating their options, and they are really active here. So at this stage, 60% of people want to talk to a salesperson. They want to talk to you. So you can see that if you don't talk to people in the awareness and the consideration stage, and by talk, I mean have meaningful conversation. It can be, vocal messaging back and forth. It can be a conversation, an online conversation where you're DMing each other on LinkedIn. I mean, this is LinkedIn. So, there are various ways to engage in that conversation. But if you don't, during these first 2 stages, then you've missed 79% of people who wanted to have a talk with you. Hello? Okay. And then in the last stage, they're making their decision. They are connecting with the salesperson to make the final buy. Okay. So, and this is where 80% of people on LinkedIn are concentrating their efforts. Okay. So get in there early in the awareness and consideration stages, where almost 80% of people already want to have a conversation with you. And you are only competing with about 20% of the people with your expertise or in your industry. And you have a much better chance of developing that relationship, building that trust, so that by the time they get to that decision stage, you're the one who pops into their minds. Okay? Enough said on that. All right, now I told you about the social selling index. This is an index by LinkedIn. It changes every day and it measures four different aspects or pillars, as they call them, of social selling. And even if you can't access the social selling index right now, you can know what those things are. Now, the social selling index has a score of 100, and each one of these four pillars is on a scale of 1 to 25. All right. So LinkedIn says that really great sellers, those people who are doing a really great job on LinkedIn, have at least a 70%. So you really have to be doing all four of these. Now let's go through these. Number one, remember what I told you, the fastest way to get clients on LinkedIn is by promoting a professional brand. Right there in black and white. It is a matter of building that brand and then promoting it on LinkedIn. Now, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to tell you about next week's program because that's what we're talking about. The second pillar of the social selling index is finding the right people. So that's all about prospecting. Hey, Linda, nice to hear from you. Okay, on the at that, finding the right people is all about prospecting. And there are a lot of different ways to do it on LinkedIn. You can just use the LinkedIn search fillers for the advanced search and do that. And the way you use advanced search is just by clicking in that search field and then hitting enter, not putting anything in there. And that's going to bring up all the fields of advanced search or filters. And you can look, you're going to have a line across the screen of filters that you can use. So if you go to all filters, which is on the far right, that's where you can do advanced search. And that's where you can do some really cool things to find your ideal clients. And we will have a live stream on that sometime in the near future. Okay, the third one is engage with insights. Now, this has always been the hardest one to figure out. And it took me a while to figure it out. But when I finally went, oh, yeah, now I get it. This is so easy. This means that when you look in your news feed, excuse me, my heater died in my office, so I'm drinking hot coffee because it's cold in here. Okay, engaging with insights simply means that you are going to engage with people in your news feed. Now, if you've done a good job of figuring out who your people are, who your right people are, and you can kind of train your news feed. And if anybody wants to ask me about that, we can talk about that shortly. You're going to engage with them by, giving them a reaction. And, it used to just be the thumbs up, but now there's a heart. If you love it, there are hands applauding. If, this is worth celebrating. There's a little guy who looks curious because you can ask a question. So hitting one of those reactions and then making a comment that is at least 5 words, and you want to use the @ symbol so that the person that posted that knows that you're commenting on it, and then make a comment that requires some thought. It doesn't have to be long, but that requires some thought. So like one of my favorite ones is to say, hey, I'm curious. If you could only tell people one thing about this, what would that piece of advice be? This does a number of things. One, it gets the attention of that person in your news feed. And that makes it, if you follow someone and you're commenting with them in their news feed, in the news feed, they're going to notice you after a few times, right? They're going to go, oh, somebody's, this person's really commenting, and you can get a conversation started. So that's one of the great ways to get a conversation started with people that you would like to attract as your clients. It does another thing. It really helps them out because you are publicizing what they're doing, but it also positions you as an expert. So you don't want to just engage with potential clients. You might want to engage with people in the newsfeed who said something that you find really, really great. For instance, I see things from other LinkedIn experts, and often I'll comment on them and say, hey, this is a really good point. I'm glad you made it. But then I add something to that, because you don't want to just like it and make a comment like, great job. You want to like it and make a comment that gives your own point of view, so that not only are you helping them as an expert, which can be reciprocated, you are also positioning yourself as someone who's already in the know. You are positioning yourself as well as helping them. So engaging with insights. When you do this, you want to give them give a reaction. You want to make a comment and or share. And you can share it with your network, which is really, like, that's the big Megillah. That's really doing them a great job, a great service. So there's everything good about engaging insights. It's engaging with insight. And whenever I fall down, when there's one part of the social selling index that isn't as high as everything else, it's engaging with insights, because I tend to forget it, and so I go for a few days or a week, and then all of a sudden I go, whoa, that dropped on my social selling index. And you know what? It dropped because I haven't been doing it. So this is a really great way to do social selling, and to get those people to know, like, and trust you. Okay, finally, the last pillar is building strong relationships. And that's what I'm telling you. That's what I've been saying from the very start. The sales mantra, know, like, and trust. Well, people aren't going to trust you overnight. They might, you can do this quickly. You could have, a quick exchange of conversation, of points, where you're having this dialogue. But you want to build those relationships, and you want to base them on respect, and that 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 develops trust. Okay, so those premature sales pitches, you know what I'm talking about. Somebody invites you to connect, and they say, hey, I just looked at your profile. I think we really, could do some business, and I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. And then before, you hit accept, before you can even write them back with a welcome message, you get hit with a sales pitch. Now, that's automated, right? That's a bot, because nobody moves that fast. I mean, they are not hours a day just waiting for you to accept their invitation. We people who operate as real people, and who want to build relationships, don't use premature sales pitches. That's what I call sales spam. And I know some people. I was just in a conversation with a group that I belong to, and people were talking about LinkedIn. And the one thing one person said, I always write them back and say, what do you think you're doing? This isn't the right thing to do. And I was like, don't bother. Just disconnect with them. Just remove them as a connection. It's not going to get better from here. All right. And if that happens to them enough, they will learn. But it must work for somebody, or somebody's preaching how to do this, because you see it all the time. I get sales pitches for learning how to build leads on LinkedIn. Hello, did you even look at my headline? No, you looked at the word coach or trainer and you jumped on it, so don't engage in sales spam. It repels people. And if you are, in my group, I work with coaches, consultants, and other kinds of service providers, both personal and professional, and some trainers. So you don't want to do that, because people, those people in my tribe. Oh, tribe is such, no, that is a politically incorrect um, phrase, and I apologize for using it. If you are in my target audience, the people that I love to talk to work with, all of those things, then you don't like sales spam, and you don't like to make sales pitches that feel pushy, phony, or manipulative. You just don't like it. So don't even go there. It's not going to help you. All right. Any questions on the 4 pillars of the social selling index? All right. Coming up. Okay, now this is a graphic that I created just to show you what I call the lucrative LinkedIn system. And the reason that I stopped calling it the lucrative LinkedIn lead system is because, well, you do need leads. I mean, that's a very important piece of it. But leads don't put food on the table. Leads aren't going to pay you. They are certainly, you're certainly not going to be able to buy that fancy new sports car with leads. You need clients, right? So I stopped calling it that. And the reason I call it the lucrative LinkedIn system is because if you do not have a system, you are going to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and you're not going to make any money. Okay? I can tell you this from personal experience. When I first started out, I came out of higher education, and I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about business. I mean, I knew nothing. All I knew was that at the time I had been in career development for 2.5 decades. So I figured, okay, I'll hang up my shingle as a career coach. And I had used LinkedIn before because I was helping students and alums find jobs on LinkedIn. So I knew kind of the basics, but I didn't know how to get people to be my clients. So I started following people and listening to their advice. And at that time, the advice was connect with 500 people a week and post, I'm not kidding here, 5 times a day. 5 times a day. Okay. So I was literally chained to my computer. Um, and I was trying to put out enough content. Well, you can't put out quality content if you're doing it 5 times a day. Now, because I always want to give value, I wasn't thinking that, oh, you could put it out at 5 different times. You could just kind of do them back and forth. I was using Buffer to schedule my posts, and Buffer wouldn't let you repeat them that fast. So couldn't come up with really valuable. I had some witty stuff, but not anything that was really valuable, because you can't do it in that amount of time. And 500 people a week, give me a break. You can't build relationships with 500 people a week. So I was getting clients, but they weren't the clients I wanted. And I was bargaining. I was lowering my prices. It was just, and I was exhausting myself. I was literally, I was just exhausting myself. So I closed the doors on my business. I regrouped. I went and got some business coaching. I really started looking at, how I could get clients on LinkedIn, and I actually invested in some courses that were quite expensive, and they just didn't get me any results. They weren't natural and authentic to me. For for the biggest part of it was that they were teaching sales techniques that I felt really smarmy doing. I mean, it was pushy, it was manipulative, and I just didn't like that. I mean, I even paid a 10 figure or 6-figure coach. What did they call those? Yeah, I think it was a 6-figure coach, and I paid 10 grand for this program. And it's not that it wasn't a program for some people. It was a good program for some people, but it was totally wrong for me. So that was a total bust. So I finally realized, hey, you want to learn this and do it in a way that feels good to you, you're going to have to figure this out for yourself. And that's when I started working out this system. Now, it took me a while and it took me some testing to really get it to work the way I wanted it to work. I started volunteering at a women's business center and teaching some of them the things that I was finding out. I didn't have my whole system together at first, but over the year that I was doing that, I really they started seeing success, and I was seeing success. I was seeing great success once I got my system down. So that's why I'm talking to you today about having a 4-part social selling system. Because once you get this set up, you can do it in as little as 15 to 30 minutes a day. I promise you. Okay, so the first part is clarity. And for clarity, and write this down on your worksheet. Write down these four main points, the 4 main stages, which are clarity, awareness, lead generation, and then the final one is sales and analysis. And then you have three drop downs below those, and those are the 3 things that go into each one. Okay, so in the clarity stage, this is where you're going to get really clear on your goals, what you're trying to accomplish on LinkedIn, and you're also going to identify the key indicators or metrics that will tell you whether you're on the right track, whether you're getting there. Because you need goals, and they need to be goals that are based on your business goals for the year. But you also don't want to wait until the end of the year before you check and see, oh, did I make my goals? No, you want to check that, once a month, so you know that you have to tweak things if they're not working for you. Okay, the second thing you have to get clear on is your niche. And by your niche, I mean the people who are in your target audience. Now, your niche is usually narrower than your target audience. I was talking to someone today who might have a target audience pretty soon, but she's not ready. She really doesn't have her niche defined, so she doesn't know who she's looking for. So you can start out with a target audience. I work with, as I said, coaches, trainers, consultants, and service providers, and there are several industrial classifications on LinkedIn that are based on those. So you can get a pretty clear idea. You can at least start finding those people. You can at least develop a good list of those people. Okay, and then finally, you're going to get clear on your personal brand. And I know I keep harping on that, but it's so, so important. Now, when you get clear on these 3 things, that's when you can create your strategy. Okay, your strategy is based on clarity. All right. And if you are tempted to skip this part, which a lot of people will, don't. Because this is the foundation upon which you're going to build your system. Okay. Okay, the second stage is awareness. Now, this is not the exactly the same as the awareness in the buyer's journey that your buyers are going to go through, but this is how you're going to make them aware of you. So in awareness, that's where you're going to build a really great profile. And I'll show you at the end of this in my upcoming live streams. I do have one coming up on how to build your profile. Um, and you're also going to really look at your content. So you're going to have your profile, your which is going to, the reason I'm saying niche is because you want your profile to speak directly to the people who are in your niche or in your target audience. You want to build a client-centered profile, okay? And then you're going to look at content marketing. Now, this isn't, I'm not talking at this point about, all content, because but this is the time, based on your goals, your niche, and your brand, that you are going to want to make some decisions about what kind of content you have. You're going to want to decide on your messaging, because that's going to be part of your profile. You're going to want to think about what kinds of content you want to create. Is it going to be videos? Are you really great at videos? Maybe you're great at video, you're not so great at writing, or maybe there are other kinds of content that you really like. And there are a lot of different kinds. One of the things we know is that Google and LinkedIn love images, okay? And they love moving images even more. So there are places to use video on your profile. We're not going to go into that today, but know that that's a very big part of optimizing your profile. And there are all different kinds of things that you have to make decisions on at this stage, because you're also going to decide what kind of profile you want. Do you want the standard profile, or do you want creator mode? And creator mode is all about content marketing. Okay, and that's a choice that you can make and turn on your profile, provided that you have a really great profile and you've already got some content that you can put out there. Okay. All right. And then finally, automation. And by that, I mean how awareness. We want to talk about the kinds of automation that you can use to make people more aware. And remember, I said I was using Buffer, and that's an external way to schedule your posts. LinkedIn is coming out with its own scheduler. This is magic, because content that you post on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to set a date when that content will be released, and that's native content. That is native to LinkedIn, and you're going to gain a far greater reach with it. So all good. Automation can really help, and that's one kind of automation you really want to take advantage of. Okay. The third stage is lead generation. Now, lead generation is kind of the heart of the decision. Your profile comes before that, because everything you do in lead generation or content marketing is going to cause people to go to your profile and look at it. Okay, so it doesn't matter what strategies you're using for lead generation. They're going to go look at your profile. Okay, so that's why it's so important. In lead generation, we're really talking about three things: prospecting, finding the right people, connecting with them in a way that they will respond to, and then finally, nurturing. Okay, so prospecting, I was talking about earlier. That's where you're going to use, advanced search, and you're going to drill down and find the people that you're most interested in. And there are a lot of other ways to get started with that, but that's the quick and easy way I can tell you right now. And I do go into that in another live stream. There's connecting, and that means sending out invitations that people are going to respond to. And those invitations are not going to say something like, I'd like to add you to my professional profile on LinkedIn. No. That's the generic invitation. And LinkedIn has connect buttons all over the place that will send a generic invitation. You do not want to do that. And you also don't want to use an automated, hey, I saw your profile. I think we can do business. Hello. No. You're going to go to their profile. You're going to know something about them, and then you're going to do it. Now, and when I do it, I tell people, I go to their profile, and that's where you want to issue invitations because you can see what they're about. Okay. I issue a lot of invitations to people who are in Florida and Ohio because I know those states and I can talk about them. And when you see something like that, sometimes sometimes because I'm a LinkedIn strategist, I will comment on what I do that I can help them with. But I always mention something about who they are. Okay, and then connecting. So that's connecting is issuing the invitations. And you see, when you go to their profile, you can put in a 300 character message. That's not very long. You'd be surprised at how fast that adds up because that includes white spaces. But it can be a personalized message, and you can develop templates. You can have a template, but just put some little thing in there that lets them know that you have actually looked at their profile. And then finally, there's nurturing, and that is all about building a sequence of messages that you can use to nurture people. Now, I'm not saying you're always going to use the same message, but once again, you can develop templates and then choose between them and personalize them in order, to give people something of value. In my first message, I very often tell people that the most valuable thing you can do is to provide introductions. And so, I tell them how they can use advanced search to search through my connections and then ask for introductions, because that's a very valuable service. Okay, enough about lead generation. The final stage is sales and analysis. Now, in sales and analysis, there are three things you're going to do. One, you're going to have a sales conversation. Yes, I know sales conversations can feel really awkward. They are something that has to be practiced, but you don't have to be pushy, phony, or manipulative. You can have a sales script that really feels very natural and authentic. And because you've gone through the first three stages, they know who you are. You've built some trust there. And so that conversation is going to be more about, what their needs are, and then how you can help them by providing solutions. And then you're going to rinse, meaning that you are going to look at what you've done, you're going to tweak it, you're going to improve it, and then you're going to repeat it. But there's one more step in this one, and that's the analysis. Okay, so it's sales, it's analysis, and it's rinse and repeat. That analysis is where you look at those metrics. Remember stage one with the goals? I told you you're going to set your metrics. That's where you're going to look at them. And that's how you're going to know what's working, what isn't, where you need to tweak it, and all that good stuff. Okay, so that is the lucrative LinkedIn system. Now, I talk about this in various ways. I break these things out in other live streams. So, keep watching and keep listening. Share it with people that that they can actually learn a lot about LinkedIn here. And I'm going to tell you what's coming up now. Next week, on Friday, this is the only time I do things on Fridays. I'm going to do a 3-hour masterclass, Build Your Brand in Bits and Bytes. And that's going to be all about how you build a personal brand. I'm going to go into a lot of detail then. And it's also going to tell you the ways that you can promote it on LinkedIn. So, if you can possibly do it live on Friday, it's going to be much better for you because you can ask all kinds of questions. You can really get a lot of understanding from this. So that is next Friday between 12 and 3. There's also the following week on February 3rd, in this same time slot again, I'm going to talk about 7 ways to find your ideal clients. So that's that prospecting piece of lead generation. The following week on February 10th, I'm going to talk about how to find, engage, and convert your ideal clients on LinkedIn in as little as 15 minutes a day. And that is that lead generation system, the prospecting, the prospecting, the connecting, and the nurturing. Okay, and then the week after that, did I put that? Yes, February 17th, 5 o'clock again. I'm going to talk to you about how you can build a LinkedIn profile that sells around the clock. Okay, so that's on February 17th. All right. You can get a free LinkedIn profile checklist from me. I'm going to show you how to get that. And that goes through and shows, it's just all the different things that you need to do on your LinkedIn profile. And when you opt in to get the free checklist, you are also going to get things following that. I'm going to send you suggestions on how you can improve your LinkedIn profile. So it's not just the checklist, it's a lot of tips at following that. Now, here are some important links. Here's the essential LinkedIn profile checklist. So that's the link to it. And like I said, you're going to get a lot of good stuff for that. Invite me to connect on LinkedIn. If we are not first degree connections, go to my profile, tell me you saw this, and invite me to connect. I will respond. Okay, email me if you have particular questions, dumont@dumontowen.com. I look at my own email. Nobody else is looking at it for me. And then finally, there is the link to the Build Your Brand in Bits and Bytes. Now, this is a free masterclass right now. In the future, I'm going to start charging for it. So if you want to take it for free, jump on it now. I don't know when I'm going to start charging, but sometime in the next few months. So do it now. Anyway, that's it for today. If you have questions, just let me know. If you're watching the replay, you can still get a hold of me. Just DM me, and I will respond. And tell all your friends. Okay, so that's it for today. We actually finished in just not even 50 minutes. So you're getting out of here early. And all I'm going to say is this is Dumont Owen saying ta-ta for now.